I have a question for everybody.
All right. What's that question?
Question is, look, when you've been dating with someone for a while, your friends and family sometimes somehow seem to come up with the question, when are you going to get married? But how do you know if you're ready to get married? Let's talk about that and much more here on this episode of Couples Pursuit Live.
Couples Pursuit.
Hello, this is Vincent
And Valerie
Woodard. And on this episode of Couples Pursuit,
we're going to discuss the question, are you ready for marriage? 5 important premarital questions for you to be asking.
Yes. Look, we're so glad to have you here with us on Couples Pursuit. Our goal here is to give you the tools and strategies to pursue and maintain a successful marriage.
Yes.
So if you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. And also, hit that like button and share this video with someone else that you know that might find this topic interesting.
Yes.
So, baby.
Yep.
How would someone know if they're ready for marriage? Besides the butterflies and all those.
Oh, you mean that doesn't count? Butterflies don't count?
All those, those feeling emotional things, like actually, am I mentally, all those great questions that we probably need to ask ourselves. How will someone know if they're even ready to consider marriage? And not just marriage. Okay, well, I guess it's all marriage. But like also, if you've been married before and you're not married now, but you're entertaining the ideal of being married again, like those things right there, those questions that...
Ooh, these are loaded questions. If you're entertaining the idea of being married again, first of all, I think there's a difference between being ready for marriage and being prepared for marriage. Being ready for marriage means, I want to jump in. Being prepared for marriage means that you have readied yourself in your single life and that you have a good working knowledge of the person that you are interested in marrying or you're expecting to propose to you or hoping will propose to you. I think it also means that you have considered your future, at least for the next 5 to 10 years.
That's true.
It means you should know whether or not you want to live in a certain area or you don't. You know what your deal breakers are.
Yeah. Are you saying you do know them or you should know them?
You should.
Okay.
You should be prepared to share those things.
Okay.
You should be willing to go to premarital counseling. You should be open and honest with yourself about how giving and selfless you can be. One thing I used to tell our girls especially is you want to be careful before you start dating, interacting, because we know, you teach one thing, but they have will, they're going to do whatever they want.
Yes.
You should not enter into a relationship with someone that you don't anticipate having children with.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Really? Say that again.
You should not enter into a relationship. You should not enter into physical, sexual activity with a person that you cannot see yourself having a child with.
Yes.
Because these are two different animals. The animal that wants the relationship, animal is probably not a good word, but maybe it is. The one that wants the relationship, the love, the connection, the touch, the intimacy, all those things that seem to come with it. And mind you, we are supporting biblical principles here. So the right way to do it is to wait until you get married.
Exactly.
But then when you're engaging, more than likely, the male getting married and having a baby is the last thing on his mind. Okay?
That's not the reason why.
That's not the reason why he's engaging with you. Now, I say the male because the woman, oftentimes, I was not the girl who had the book all planned out. Ooh, this is the color. This is where I'm going to get married. No, it wasn't, add and stir for me. It was, and some people are like that. So women often romanticize relationships far before man is even ever interested in talking about marriage. So you need to know who you're dealing with.
Exactly.
I answered a lot of questions, but I have a lot more. I'll hold it there.
I kind of threw a lot at you.
It's okay.
I think like this conversation that we're having, I hope it stirs a lot of other people to actually have their own conversation with their
intended
person. And because I believe we also talk a lot about having effective communication in your relationships, in your marriage. And why so many marriages lose the connection that they had, or maybe never ever really quite got like they wanted, is because I believe of ineffective communication, or maybe one-sided communication. It's a whole bunch of things, but it's not effective. And having an effective conversation about your dreams, your hopes, your things you would like to know about your future spouse, is having them early on when you get to the point to say, you know what, I think that I want to marry you. You know, I believe that. I know that not just I want to marry because you look good or you cook good or whatever, but I have this connection with you. So being able to have a conversation like this, it can lead you into so many great ways, because if you are able to talk about what we might call the hard subjects, you know, those difficult subjects, those things that we would never talk about it, like watching a movie together or whatever. You know, we have to be like sitting together and intentionally talking about these questions. We have 5 questions that we're going to that I think is a good start, you know, to having this conversation. So premarital questions. And I urge you to go into this with the mindset that if not these specific questions, the intent behind them. You want to know more about this person that you're going to say I do with, for the intention of forever.
Yes. Now see, okay, I'm not gonna do it. No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Because you got me going. You got me going.
Okay, so the first question is, do you love God first and foremost?
Sure, I love God. I believe in God.
And what and how are we on the same page spiritually? What I mean by that, you know, am I a thinking about Christian? Are you a practicing Jew? Or, you know, whatever. Like,
are you a devout Catholic?
Yes. What page are we on?
Are you atheist or agnostic?
Are you on a page? You didn't open the book.
Do you have a book?
Here's my Bible.
What book is that?
My grandma has.
That's not the book we read. Wait a minute. Now we're laughing, but it's so important, because we think, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We love each other. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Sometimes people do, because maybe they are religious and not people of faith. People who have relationship. When I say religious, it's like, this is what I grew up in, or, you know, this is what I ascribe to, what I'm familiar with, but don't really have a full-on relationship. It's not the center of their faith and belief. That's true.
Yeah. And that's why I pose the question, like, do you love God first and foremost? Like, what I'm not asking you, are you like the pastor or the preacher? Are you studying to go to theological school and seminary? I'm saying, like, God first and foremost, like, you're chasing after him. Like, and I'm still learning. Are you still learning, you know, this whole thing? I'm still going through my Bible. I'm still learning about the grace and faith and salvation, all those great things. But I do believe in God, and I do love God. You know, if that's the person, if you can answer those questions in that way, you know, I think you're on to a great conversation to having, well, how can we grow together?
Yeah, because, you know, it's one thing to have the knowledge of, but another thing to have the relationship with. Like, if you throw out any famous name, let's say LeBron James. Oh, I know LeBron James. You don't. No, you don't. You know about LeBron James. You know who he is. You know what he does. You might know how much money he's made. You may know funny things, facts about him. I know when his birthday is, because it's my son's birthday too. But I don't know LeBron James. So it's that serious when someone says, yes, well, you know, I believe in God. Well, that's nice. Well, what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Is he the person that you consult with when you make decisions? Is he the person by which you temper yourself? Or do you just know God like he is the author and the creator of the world, but he knows my heart and I just live my life the way I want to, because that makes a difference when you start having children, when you start to have to make decisions, when you talk about your ethics, your morals, your character. Yeah. All of that comes into play.
That is so true. So, I mean, and really, I'm talking about having the conversations. Like, where are they at now? You know?
Yeah.
And I think the right answer would be, yes, I do believe in God. And I do, you know, or...
The right answer is the truth.
If he does give any other answer, yes.
Yes.
Then we have to address that, and let's not back away from those times to talk about it. I'm not saying that you got to call him out and he's wrong and whatever. You know, we're having a conversation. We got to be able to have a conversation and to be able to talk through issues, not to get stuck on those and say, you know what, I just gonna stop talking about it because you're gonna get mad and get upset, and I don't want to fight and I don't want to argue. Well, you don't have to fight.
No,
you don't have to argue. But you do have to have a conversation.
Yes, and you should be clear about that. And it's better to, a lot of times people will compromise and be like, oh, it'll work out, it'll be okay. And then when the rubber meets the road, then we're like, oh, well, I don't know if this is going to work. And how sad is that if you've spent years with them, if you've had a family, and then you decide, I don't think this is going to work. It's not just you that you're affecting.
Yes.
You know, it's that person as well. And you got to be honest, because the little things, what seems like a little thing will turn into a really big deal. Exactly. After a while, it can become a deal breaker. And then that speaks to your level of commitment, awareness, even to your own faith. If you decide to go that direction with someone that you know, it's like there's a scenario, I've heard the scorpion asked another animal, a frog or turtle or something, for a ride. It's like, why would I give you a ride? You're a scorpion. You could sting me. It's like, no, I just need a ride. Long story short, they cross over. He says, well, if I sting you, that means I'm going to die and you're going to die too.
Because you're going to drown or whatever?
Well, I don't know if a scorpion dies after it stings one time. I don't know, but that's how the story goes. And then so they go along, and then the scorpion gets where he wants to go, and he bites him. He stings him. And it's like, why'd you sting me?
Because I'm a scorpion.
I'm a scorpion.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
And it's so silly and simple, but it's the truth.
Yes. So yes. Yeah. That's a great starter question. Great. That's a starter question.
Do you believe?
Yeah, and also second question would be, would you be able to love me unconditionally? And if not, what are the conditions? Because I need to know. What, because we had this conversation, I think we talked about this during the last episode.
Okay.
We talked about the fact that, I was basing a lot of ideals on what I can...
What you knew, yeah.
What I knew and what I knew about myself. And I left really what God can do through me. Like, I didn't bring that in there. I was like,
you didn't think you needed anything done.
Well, I didn't address the fact that God can use me and can show me how to love you. Like, I was at a point where this is all I know. Right. And so here it is, So if this happens, then I can't know. Ain't no way. Is there no possible way I can? And me myself is probably right. Me in the flesh, Vincent in the flesh, you're probably right. But letting God come in and use me and change my heart and show me how to process some things. Well, there you go. I love you. I have to love you as Christ loved the church. I have to always remember that. And as a man, I'm not so naive that I think that okay, whatever happens, I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to do it. What I do know is that God can change. He can work through. He can do exceedingly abundantly above all that kind of thing with me. So and whatever that is the unknown. Is the scary part. What is this?
Well, I have a question for you. Yeah. Because I remember our wedding day very well. I remember your face, your expression when I walked down the aisle, and I wonder now if you knew then, if you thought, I love her enough I think I love her as much as I can love a person.
Mm-hmm.
And did you even fathom that there would be a need for you to widen and deepen the love that you have for me in a way that went beyond you and your ability? Did you have any idea of that then?
I think because we had been together a couple years.
3.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I can love you as much as I can at that time, as long as I don't have to, as long as nothing else stretches my...
Oh, come on, husband.
Because so now when I was forced to actually grow and stretch, then I was like, wait a minute, this is I was good.
As long as I
2000, yeah.
So let's clarify. So you could love me continually as long as nothing changed that had happened up to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now see, I say now see because we think we found I'm in love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's great, she's great. They make me happy. I make them happy. We want the same things and blah 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 blah. But things do change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inevitably, things change, whether we want them to or not.
It's like I seen it's like my change and my mindset is like the change of variables of what has already happened. Mm-hmm. You know, just if, okay, well, you know, she decided she don't want to cook 3 days a week. She's just going to take down to 1 or 2, you know, okay. You
can deal with that.
It's the little variables.
Yeah.
Not the, you know, I want, you know, you to be the best that you can be. You can be not for me, but for not for you, but for me. And I'm here because I believe that you can be that person. But you're fighting that. I'm fighting that. I don't want to change. I don't want to stretch. I don't want to grow. You know.
I'm fine the way I am. I was like this when you met me.
And that happens.
The dumbest thing that people can say. You knew how I was when you met me. Did you know that I met you 30 years ago? Don't you think that there is opportunity for growth and change in 30 years?
Opportunity for growth, yes.
Do you know that you don't know everything?
So yeah, that's
Thanks for answering that question.
Yeah, to be able to love them, that person. Well, you better love me unconditionally.
Mm-hmm. What does unconditionally mean? Do we know that? Man, I think this is going to turn into more than one segment.
Yeah.
But do we know what unconditionally means? Because I brought up to you the word love when I was doing some study the other night. There are different types of love. There's, eros love? That's the romantic love that makes you want to get married and, you know, be a couple. And then there's agape love. And that's that is unconditional love. That's a godly love for us.
Oh,
right?
You're working way to that.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I did.
It's like he told the punchline of my joke. But what I'm saying is also I was thinking, is it phileo? It's one of those. But what that is brotherly love.
Okay.
And see, what we have oftentimes is romantic feeling for a person, but unconditional love is something that we really are not acquainted with until the conditions change.
Yeah.
Until they change. If you say you love somebody, I used to tell my husband, well, I said to you while we were dating, the true test of how much you love me is how you treat me when you're not happy with me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that brings in all the variables, all the conditions. We're not talking about I cheated, you know, I spent 4 or 5 nights outside the house, or, I turned into another person. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about life.
Yeah.
We're talking about life and things that happen in life.
That's true.
So
that's true. So yeah, those that's a great topic.
Do you know what
question.
Unconditional is? Can you really answer that? Are you willing to love me if I have one less limb than I have right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing, like you said, this probably could turn into 2 segments, but it's amazing how you also said that I think the Lord dealt with you, like, I don't know if he dealt with you about that, or you got the revelation that you had to love me like I was a brother, like I was.
Oh, yes. In the thick of our dysfunction and right before we got to the point where we were going to, where we were separating, I had to have some peace, because what happened is I began to be out of character, and I was angry and I was frustrated, and I was like, whoa. And I even said to him, I said, you're changing me and I don't like it. I don't want to do this anymore. But what I had to realize is that I had to take the invitation to change. I had to accept that invitation to change who I was. Now, true enough, for those of you who have never heard us before, we dealt with situations where my husband had anger and a lot of hurt and a lot of frustration. And he is and was a great guy, good father, great provider, very reliable, dependable. But there was a small percentage of the time where his top would just blow off. And it was so dysfunctional to the point where it would be completely stunning, because 98% of the time, everything was smooth sailing. And so that's what I mean when I say I got tired of it. Was I a perfect wife? Am I a perfect wife? The answer is no to both of those questions. But what he is speaking of is the fact that I had to learn how to pull out of it and be like, you know what? In order for you to get rid of this anger and the bias that you have, even if he has done something wrong, you got to pray for him like he's your brother. Yeah. That takes the sting out of it. Yeah. Because we are first brothers and sisters in Christ. That's before true. We're husband and wife.
And it's amazing how even your, like, in that mindset, like, even your children, even your kids, like, man, they made you so upset, so mad, and you know that some things need to change. But it's like, you never got to the point where, like, I don't love them anymore. You know? I mean, if I told him to get out, it's not the fact that it's not. I'm saying that like I don't love you no more. It's like, no, we can't. You can't do that.
Something gotta change.
Yeah. So anywho, wow, man, that's it. So good. So 3. Wow. Yeah. This question right here.
Let me ask the question.
Ask the question, baby.
Because usually it's the woman who needs to ask this question. Yeah. Usually now. Yeah. Usually. Yeah. Do you have any other children? Now, see.
Tell them what you told me when we talked about this.
I need to know if you. Okay, yes, you have children. Okay. Do you have any children that I don't know about that we haven't discussed? Do you have any children that are like on the way? Are you in a situation where you less than 9 months ago, more than 9 months ago, you were in a situation where somebody could be in process? Just because the baby is in utero doesn't mean you don't have it. I need you to tell me the truth.
Oh, it's great questions. I'm laughing because it's so many. I just heard women tell the story of they get a knock on the door. They just got married, and it's like, okay, well, here you go. 2 women I know that they say this is his child. And it's like, I'm like, wait a minute now. Hello, my name is so-and-so.
Okay, let me get my calendar. Hold on.
And you got pregnant. I just had a baby. You just had a baby. Okay, so these are just questions.
This is life, y'all. Yeah. It's real. And what you don't want to do, because when a person withholds information from you, if I didn't ask you, that's one thing. Yeah. But you're responsible to tell me. Yeah. Omission is lying also. If you left that, well, you didn't ask me if I had any kids. I remember, I have to tell this story. I don't know if you know it. Yes, you do. It was years ago. There was a person when I was, it was my first CD release, and we went to the Bronx or somewhere. And there was a person who was like hitting on my friend, my girlfriend. Oh, okay. And I saw him coming from a mile away. And so she's talking and, he's skinning and grinning. And I'm like, hey, bro, you married? I just asked him. Yeah. No, sister, I'm not married. Okay. Well, do you have a girlfriend? Is there someone like in another country that might be thinking that you... And he was like, why you ask so many questions? Guess what? It turned out that all of the above was true. He was married and she was pregnant, and he was trying to carry on this relationship with my girlfriend. And he thought, well, she's over here and she's over here. Yeah. And it's just such a disservice. It's so disrespectful. Yeah. It's look, so disrespectful.
Men, we will stay in the gray area. For as long as we can, because we know women, okay, maybe not all women, but we know that women will not ask the probing questions sometimes, because sometimes they don't really want to know, or they don't really want to be disappointed. And
they sometimes assume that you're going to treat them like they would treat you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen.
Like you should tell somebody, yeah, I have.
Because remember, the man ain't thinking about marriage. You thinking about marriage most of the time.
Or you should tell somebody you got 10 kids by 10 different
Oh.
women. You know, it's like the women is like, you should he should tell me that.
I need to know
No,
that.
I didn't ask. So,
I need to know.
Anywho, wow, my goodness.
I need to know if your mama gonna come live with us right after we get married. Like when we get married, you moving her in too. Don't give me no surprises.
Did you do it right in? You did it right in.
I did. Because people, I mean, listen, especially when it comes to men, now men can be really attached to their mothers.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I love my mother-in-law. My husband loves his mother. And God forbid anything happened to her. We would do the best we could to do whatever we could for her. But you cannot prefer your mother over your wife.
You know what? And I'm so glad the Bible puts that in there, because it will be so many people tripping up, and people do trip up on the issue anyway. But it's like, she ain't my mama. Or no, I ain't gonna put her over my mama. You know what?
But
bruh, it says like I'm flipping the Bible.
It's in there for a reason. You leave your father and your mother and you cleave unto your wife, and you two become one.
Yeah.
And what he has put together, let no one put asunder, and you forsake all others for that person. So your wife should never ask you.
That's right.
Neither should she have to ask you.
That will all hinge on the fact that you love God first and foremost, because then you would do as he commanded. So that's why I started with that question, because so many other things, come off of that. It hinges off of that.
Yeah.
So she did it right here. Number 4, do you have any past issues that could pose a problem for us? My wife kind of dealt with that. You kind of answered.
Are you talking about the baby?
The baby knocking on the door.
Babies.
But any other issues that could pose a problem?
Well, it could be financial, like
criminal.
Is the IRS after you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a record?
Mm-hmm.
Is your name your real name?
Yeah.
Do you have aliases?
Yeah.
Do you have any health conditions that I need to know about? Are you predisposed to any kind of genetic, disorder, disease, anything that we should know about before we begin to have? There's so many questions.
Yeah, and did you look some like questions like, how did your last relationship end? Because just people would tell you the part that the other person did really quick. It's like they would go, man, she did that and she did this and she did that and she did that. Well, what did you do? I told somebody, I was on Facebook and somebody asked a question in the group, another group I was in, and they talked about the fact that the woman, I'm gonna get buy her flowers, but I'm gonna know that she's not gonna reciprocate, she's not gonna show any emotion or whatever, she's not gonna do that. And I'm saying to myself, bro, what did you do? I asked because I'm like, it's something.
There's a reason why she doesn't want your flowers.
Yeah, well, you ain't tell us the whole story.
Yeah.
So that is part of the question, is like, do you have any past issues that could pose a problem for us right now or in the future?
Yeah, somebody gonna pop up on my job.
Yeah, exactly.
I have all kinds of scenarios to share, and these are real stories.
Yes, but they're necessary.
It is necessary, because it's too late. Well, for some people it's not too late because they'll just jump ship. But it's too late once you put that ring on your finger. Who wants to just dissolve it? Yeah,
you would have all that to deal with on top of a process and how to become husband and wife. How to be joined to your wife. That's a process. And God told us to be joined. So when he says be, it's something that we're supposed to continually do. And so that is a whole issue. Not issue, that is just the whole process. But then to have all these external, like, wait a minute, why didn't you tell me about this? Why didn't we talk about that? And my last one is, number 5, is one of the serious questions, like my wife talked about earlier, is like, what would we do about finances? Like, is there anything that needs to be addressed now? Your credit score in the minus. Is there? Oh. I know that's possible, but are there with the children, like child support, like there's how much do you have to pay? It's so many questions that you should ask, but sometimes you don't want to, because it could lead to awkward situation, awkward moments.
Or it may dim the light that you have on the relationship. Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You want to know, well, I ain't seen no kids. I ain't heard about nobody. And then he paying child support for 4 children that he doesn't know, doesn't take care of, or she has children that she hasn't, taken care of. Can you have a child?
Yeah. And I'm not necessarily saying that any answer is a direct answer, the truthful answer to it is a deal breaker. All I'm saying is that we need the information
to be made aware.
Yeah, we need this information. You need to know these things.
Yeah, because anything else is deceptive.
Yes, and to be able to talk through them. That's my intent behind the questions.
Yeah, give me the opportunity to make the choice. Because when you lie or withhold information, you make a choice for me. I need to know what I'm walking into, so I can say yes, because maybe I can deal with you, and maybe all your situations are not a deal breaker for me, and neither maybe mine are not for you. But we need to know that up front.
Yes.
Because if you really love each other, if it's love, you can work through almost anything.
Yeah.
Love covers a multitude, but you gotta know. Don't blindside me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It will cover, and of course we preface that or caveat. I don't know. I want to make a disclaimer. Physical abuse, those are issues that have to be dealt with. Either a third party or separation, whatever has to happen. Drug abuse, addiction, like all those really. Any
type of abuse.
Yeah, any type of
or addiction needs to be dealt with, revealed and dealt with. Yes. So,
but love still, the fact that you have the information, and you choose if we can go forth with it, or you know what, you go to your Heavenly Father and you pray. Because I need
some things you don't need to pray about.
Yeah.
Okay, when a person, I believe it was Maya Angelou said it, and Oprah repeated it, and so have I. When a person shows you who they are, believe them. And if a person is abusive, dismissive to you, or they have issues with addictions, that's not going to change because you get a band of gold on your finger.
Oh yeah, I'm not praying about
that's not going to change.
I'm saying all those other issues that you might struggle to deal with.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Something
just in case it wasn't clear for somebody.
I'm not saying he beats me. Let me just pray.
You can still love him, but love him at your house. No, let him go. Yeah.
I'm saying the fact that he likes to use his debit card when there's no debit.
No money.
There's no money.
Nothing in there.
A lot, But anywho, I hope these 5 questions.
This is just 5 of them.
This is just 5 of them. But the intent behind it, I hope that you got a heart, is to be able to have these conversations and not shy away from them. Don't, because it could be awkward, could be, like my wife said, dim the light that you might have had on them, through your eyes. You was like, oh, they're so great, so wonderful, but you found out about this and you found out about that. You're like,
you living in the fantasy. I mean, at some point, you got to live in the real world.
Yeah. But it will help you and it will bless you, especially in the premarital phase, that you are able to know this information up front and be able to have a plan. If you still say, you know what, we can deal with it. We can do it. I'm glad I know. Thank you for being truthful with me. Thank you for being honest with me. My wife would say, tell the truth all the time. At all times.
Tell the truth at all times.
And so we can continue to deal with not just these issues that we've known about, but whatever comes in the being joined with each other, whatever comes in the whole process, we need to be able to work through them honestly. And the much information we can know, the more we can deal with.
That's true. And you're developing, you're setting the standard for trust and vulnerability and honesty for the duration of your relationship. So you don't want to start in the negative. Yeah. So hopefully this helps you, and I thank you so much for tuning in. Choosing us, joining us, tuning in.
Take it home, baby.
Well, again, we thank you for joining. If there's someone that you know that's thinking about getting married again, share. Share this information, because sometimes we really do get caught up in what we are what we're feeling, And I remember someone said one time, well, there's this country song that says, I know what I was feeling, but what was I thinking? And that's so true. So if you are thinking about getting married, if you're feeling romantic and all those things, ask yourself the hard questions. Ask your intended the hard questions. Sit down and talk about it, because it will help you out later.
That's right.
And we just want to leave you with a prayer that God would bless you, that He would keep you, that He would make His face shine upon you, that it would be gracious to you, and that He would give you peace, keep you from all hurt, harm, danger, sickness, disease, and virus, give you the desires of your heart. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. So
I'm sorry, you were tapping me. Did you want to say something
before
else?
you close this out, so if you want to reach out to us, go to our website at couplespursuit.com. Once again, that's couplespursuit.com. And also, if you want to book a call with us, to have a conversation about your relationship, whether, and even if you're already married, we're talking about premarital questions, but if you're already married and you're dealing with some issues that you didn't get to talk about before, and you and your spouse trying to work through some issues, go to our website at couplespursuit.com/talk. That's couplespursuit.com/talk, and we would love to talk with you there. It's a free call.
The couples assessment, maybe that's a good thing for them to do too, if you're thinking about getting married. You can drop that in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah. So until next time, we'll see you here on Couples Pursuit Live.
Bye.